So you recorded your vocals, you feel like you're super happy with your performance, but you go to listen back, or maybe you're even mixing, and you notice there's a problem. They're muddy, they're murky, they're not detailed, maybe they're unintelligible, and that's very problematic. If you want to fix this problem, stay tuned, because in this video, I'm going to help you solve it. You ready? Let's go. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy, 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire. Thank you for checking out today's video. And if you haven't already, please hit the bell and subscribe button below so you can stay tuned for more helpful videos. I'm talking about mixing, mastering, recording, and all kinds of audio stuff. If you want to know how to sound better and make more money with your music, definitely subscribe to the channel so I can help you do that. Now, in today's video, we're specifically talking about muddy vocals and how to fix them. This is a very common problem that a lot of people deal with on a regular basis, and I want to offer you a few strategies to help you fix it for yourself. But the first thing we got to do is we got to understand the problem itself. So muddy vocals, the reason why they happen is there's usually a buildup of low energy frequencies or low frequencies, specifically in the low mid range. So if you're thinking of an EQ, think about between that 100 and 400 range. This can be very muddy, sometimes it could be boxy, but nonetheless, when there's too much buildup in this range, it can be very problematic and it can make your vocal appear muddy or less clear, less intelligible, etc. Now, I want to help you solve this problem, so let's jump on to Pro Tools, and I'm going to show you a couple of strategies that I find work for myself. Now, the first thing that you could do when it comes to fixing muddy vocals is you can look to use EQ. EQ can be a really helpful solution, and it's really because of the problem that we face, which is usually this buildup of lower energy frequencies or lower mid frequencies specifically. I got this song here, it's No Games by my boy Cashflow featuring Mel. I'm going to play this for you. I'll show you what I did to it, and I'll also show you stuff without some of this EQ, and you can see how it's helped fix the problem of the muddiness that's found in Cash's voice at times. So just check this out. I'll play the hook real quick. This is with everything after I've done my thing to it.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one? Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, though you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one?
Okay, cool. You get the idea. Pretty straightforward. Let me play it again now without some of these tweaks that I've done to it, and you'll see, or hear, I should say, the difference.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one? Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one?
Alright, cool. So you should have probably heard there's a bit of a resonance in the low mids. It's really poking out. Makes the vocals sound a lot less detailed, a lot less high end, and a lot more muddy or murky, just not as clear as when I played it the first time. So let's first look at the EQ. Got a Pro Q here, and I'm making a few moves, but you can see I'm particularly removing frequencies in the lower end of the spectrum, and I'm filtering out the low end on the vocal. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I always tell you to remove some of the low end. Don't really need it when it comes to a vocal. We do need some of it, sure, for warmth and presence, but you know, you can get away with getting rid of upwards of 90 to 100 hertz, and I've even actually removed more on some records, depending on the rapper or singer's voice. In this case, I'm getting rid of about 93 hertz and below, and that's already going to start helping open up the vocal, right? So let's just take a listen to this frequency on its own. I'm going to solo his vocal and we'll pay attention.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up.
Right, you can kind of see what that sounds like.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up.
You know, not really a huge deal. Definitely cleaning some stuff up, but ultimately just helping get rid of some of the lows and make some more headroom on the vocal track. I also got rid of 161 hertz and 421 hertz. To be honest, the specific frequency is less important. What's really important is this is the area where the muddiness really, really lives and is really present. And if you're EQing your own vocal or someone else's vocal that you're working on, you're going to want to find some stuff in this area and see what you can get rid of or take away to reduce the impact of that. Now, again, you want to be careful because if you overdo this part, you're going to end up with a vocal that sounds really thin and brittle, and that's also problematic in its own way. Let's take a closer look at these frequencies and hear exactly what I'm getting rid of. This is 161. You can hear that was the really problematic one, and let's hear the 421 now. So this one's still low, but it's a bit more nasally, to be honest with you, so we're just taking out that. And you can see even when I'm playing this, you see the peaks on the meter. You can kind of see what frequencies are really dominant here. So if I play this all together, let's pay attention to see where the waveform is showing us there's a lot of amplitude.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up.
So how did I decide to take out these frequencies? Well, one, I'm using my ears, I'm paying attention, I'm listening, and I'm isolating frequencies, and that's how I really figured out 161 was a problematic spot. And then 421, I could just see how much louder it was, but then not only that, I'm listening and paying attention and realizing that it's just poking out too much and I'm reducing it. Now overall, I'm only reducing these by about 1 decibel each, so not a crazy move, but enough to ultimately make a difference. So if I were to just bypass these 3 low-end bands specifically, you're going to see the difference.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one?
Just a little bit cleaner, a little bit more high-end. So far, so good. Now, another thing you can do outside of EQ, because of course this is a frequency problem, but EQ is not the only solution to the problem, is you can use a multi-band compressor, and that's what I have here, this Preamble, and I'm specifically focusing on the low end from about 700 hertz and below, and I'm compressing this low band every single time it passes a threshold that I've set up. So once the vocal becomes too loud and passes the threshold, it kicks the compressor on, and that compressor reduces it by upwards of 3 dB in this case. I have my range set to 3. It may not be reducing it that much, it might only be 1 or 2, but still you know that it's controlling this low end a lot. So let's see what this sounds like.
Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up. No games, baby girl, it's spectacular. Oh, damn, who are you if you ain't the one? Whole day when you still can't get enough. No game, no, you never been acting up.
You can just hear how much smoother it's becoming on the lows. The lows aren't poking out as much. And this is a pretty wide frequency selection. So that's why it sounds so smooth. It's covering all the way from 30 hertz upwards of 700. And really between that 200 and 400 range is where there's a lot of the problems on the vocal. And that's a thing that's going to apply to a lot of people's vocals. That 200 to 400 is muddy for a lot of people, depending on what mic you're using and all that. So just focusing on clearing up this area and smoothing it over, whether it's with some strategic EQ and getting rid of stuff, and then also coupled with some smoothing via compression and specifically multi-band compression focused on this frequency range, that'll really help fix all the problems that you're probably suffering from. Now, the other thing you may notice here on this EQ is that I'm adding a little bit at about 3,169 hertz. So 3,100, let's say, I'm adding about just under a dB of gain, and I'm doing that to just help add a little bit more clarity and presence on the vocal. 3,000 is really where the human voice sits oftentimes, and that'll help you just poke the voice out a little bit more above the beat and above other elements and add more clarity. And that's really important because we're not only trying to reduce muddiness here, but we're just trying to improve the clarity and presence of the voice as well. So subtracting from the lows, adding a little bit on the highs, and then smoothing things over with the compression is probably the best way to go when it comes to fixing muddy vocals. So there you have it. A couple of good strategies that you can use, and please keep in mind that while I did a lot of things in solo mode in this video, I recommend that you actually make your decisions in context. I was doing this just to show you guys specific things and help emphasize the problem, but whenever you're confirming and making your decisions, you want to do it in the context of your track, because that is how your listener is going to consume it as well. If you got value out of this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Share it with somebody you know it's going to help, and I'm looking forward to helping you again soon. Peace.